How many of you guys listening right now maybe want to go out and talk to a woman, but you're telling yourself the bullshit story that you have to be confident? No, confidence is something that comes with competence. You become
Yeah.
confident once you get competent at something, once you get decent at something. Confidence is something that you earn. You really stepped up to the plate and said, how can I do even more with my son? How can I be there for him even more? I said, what if you sit down with him and say, all right, 13-year-old son, who do you fucking want to be? What do you want from life? What do you want to achieve? What kind of person do you want to be? What kind of impact do you want to have on the world? How do you want to treat the people around you that you care about? Who are you? And how can I facilitate that? Most people don't want to be perfect. They think they do. But what they actually want is to just be fucking okay for once. Like, I just want to fucking feel okay. Like, that's what most
Yeah.
people say. They're like, I just want to know that I'm doing okay. I just want to feel okay. I just want to be happy.
I got a new life now. It's a new life, really.
Andreas, you and I have been sitting here for about the last 15 minutes talking, and now we're going to launch straight into this. This is a testimonial, but let's talk about some of the things that you achieved in your coaching. And I thought I would read out your final post that you made in the coaching program and go through some of that with you and talk about some of the changes and all the beautiful things that you have done. You, my good friend, said, before I signed up for the coaching with Andy, 2022 was a strange year for me. I learned that I could work incredibly hard towards a goal, but still ultimately fail at that goal. While grinding towards my goal, I learned to whip myself into action, and so I did, for months on end, until there was no drive left. During this time, I pushed all sorts of emotional issues towards the side, in pursuit of a big payday that never came. And in November, it all came back to bite me, and I gave up. I figured I would just be a healthcare worker for the rest of my life. I really tried just sticking to my lot, as in sticking at healthcare, and I became jaded and depressed. No amount of video games or other self-medication would fill the wound. And in the middle of this, I got the opportunity that I used to hope for to sell vintage watches for a storefront in the heart of New York's Diamond District. I tried studying that and sales and watches for a while, but I gave up. It was like there was nothing left in me, no life force, no mojo. As December rolled around, I went in desperation to a psychic. She told me that 2024 would be a year when the sun will shine on you. All I needed to do was get a new mentor. As soon as she said those words, I know just who. Andy, of course. Hey, I'm glad you thought of me. Andy was the opposite of the high pressure, self mutilating style that I was used to. He even said that he himself was downright lazy sometimes and had achieved success anyway. If I was to choose anyone, it had to be him, and so I did. It turned out to be the best decision that I've ever made. What I'm left with after the coaching with Andy has finished is confidence, peace, and a platform that makes me not only believe but know that I can achieve anything. I have learned to accept myself, even my darkest sides. I am no longer ashamed of who I am. I have grown as a father, and my relationship with my son has never been better. I've grown in all my relationships and friendships. I have learned the value of accountability partners, that I need not go through this journey alone. I have strengthened the bond to my former coach, and I've earned his trust in ways that I couldn't or that I thought I couldn't. I've started approaching women again. I've grown in confidence. I quit one of my jobs and replaced it with something that is infinitely better, both in income and impact. I don't feel the need, or I barely feel the need, to escape my life anymore. I've learned to trust myself, that an unproductive day doesn't mean that everything is suddenly ruined. In fact, I've learned to just recharge through those unproductive days. I feel like a different person. I am kinder, more loving towards myself and to the world. I've learned that I'm many things, not just one, and that's okay. I'm really in love with my life at the moment. This feels like we're the perfect beginning for what's shaping up to be a great adventure. I'm 38, but I feel like I'm 20 all over again. To Andy, all of his team, and the entire group, thank you times a million for life-changing experience. That's a testimonial and a half, brother. We just end the video right there. Thank you so much. Thank you for coming. But being serious, man, how do you feel now at the end of all that, looking back on your time in the coaching?
The same. The same. I stand
You
by
feel the
all
same
those
as what I
words.
just said, right? Yeah.
Yes, yes.
That wasn't
Yeah,
clear.
yeah,
It
that's
sounded like you're saying,
yeah,
how do you feel at the end of coaching? I feel the same as before I did the
yeah,
coaching.
yeah.
Bro, I would just straight up be like, all right, like, we need to give you a whole round of coaching for free if that's the case. I don't think I've ever had anyone who's like, who doesn't say my life is like fundamentally changed. Anyway,
No.
so you feel good.
I think what you do, Andy, I think you're the best in the world at it. I really do. I think there's no one that comes close. And I just want to say right from the beginning for anyone who's watching this, that if you're in a rough spot, and Andy is known for BDSM content, sex content, game content, and all that is great, and he's great at all of that stuff too. Uh, I wouldn't know. I haven't utilized that much of his knowledge in those areas, but I've seen others do it and they had great results. But what I came there for was really emotional issues, really, spiritual issues. And I know that's not primarily perhaps what your channel is about, but I would say, even if it isn't, I would say you're the best in the world at it. I don't think there's anyone that does a better job at it than you right now.
It's the thing I'm most passionate about. It's funny that you mention, that we cover a lot of BDSM and sex and stuff like that. Those things aren't mutually exclusive. At the end of the
No,
day, like I call myself I call our coaching a facilitation of whatever it is that you want in your life. If that's more sex, if it's more money, if it's more happiness, more peace, if you want to be kinder to people around you, if you just want to feel like you're okay, if you want a little bit of that spirituality and maybe a little bit of enlightenment, then hey, that's kind of what we're there for. I see our
yeah,
coaching as sort of a conduit for you to build the life that you want and be the person that you want to be.
oh yeah,
And to be very clear, you did all the work. We're very much there to guide people, but you were the one that did the work. There's a really good saying that I like from The Matrix, a quote, where Morpheus is talking to Neo and he says, I can only show you the door. You're the one that has to walk through it. And you definitely did a lot of walking, my friend. And I think nowhere is that more clear than in the relationship with your son and how much you were already a father and you were already embracing that role, but you really stepped up to the plate and said, how can I do even more with my son? How can I be there for him even more? How can I not only be the best person and father that I can be and the best man that I can be, but how can I start mentoring him? And one of the things that you guys did that I really fucking liked, that I think I just said to you on a whim sort of thing. I said, what if you do like a weekly check-in with your son and you literally sit down and you basically treat each other, father, son, as accountability partners. And you say to him, all right, son, your son's like 12, 12, 13, 12,
13.
13.
No, 13. Yeah,
And I said, what if you sit down with him and say, all right, 13-year-old son, who do you fucking want to be? What do you want from life? What do you want to achieve? What kind of person do you want to be? What kind of impact do you want to have on the world? How do you want to treat the people around you that you care about? Who are you? And how can I facilitate that? In other words, what goals do you have and how can I make those happen? And then on top of that, you share, I suggested you share your goals with him and your self-improvement with him and say, hey, son, this is what daddy's working on. These are some of the struggles that I've had and how I've overcome adversity. Here's what I do when I'm struggling. Here's maybe some of the things that I'm still struggling with and how I'm seeking help for those. And that was something that you two really, really, really embraced and jumped into. I guess maybe talk us through. I guess I'll just start with how have those been going? How's that like father-son bonding going with those accountability, like weekly check-ins where you guys just sit down and talk?
uh, it's been going well, and the accountability just laying the responsibility into their hands. I'll tell you one thing. He wanted a new computer. I told him, well, how can we make that happen? And he
Hmm.
said, you, you could buy me one, he said. And I said, well, yeah, but here's the thing. You also need to prepare yourself, because you're 13 now, you're soon 14. And how about you get a job? For one summer, you could buy a pretty decent computer. And he's got himself a summer job now. So
Mate,
it's
that's
stuff
awesome.
like that. Yeah, it's stuff like that. And hearing how proud he is in his voice when he does something that comes from him instead of me dictating it.
Yeah, you're basically teaching him. A lot of people would maybe phrase this in a gendered way, and I may as well. You're basically teaching him how to be a man. Like
Yeah,
you're literally saying, like you said, okay, son, at some point you're going to go out there into the world and you're going to be a little bit more independent, because independence is happiness for you and for me. And so, how can we start to bridge that gap between childhood and adulthood? Like,
yeah,
how can I give you almost a rites of passage, which is in a Western and English term of like that journey through childhood to adulthood? And yeah, like one of the things you guys sat down and talked about was like him wanting, you basically said to him, son, what do you want? And he said, Dad, I want to build my YouTube channel. I want to be a YouTuber. And you said, great, sweet. Like, let's do that. Like, go do that. And he already had a YouTube channel, but he just hadn't uploaded in like a year or something.
yeah,
And he presented you with a problem. He basically said, I can't remember what he said. Like, I don't have any free time to record videos because mum and family are here all the time and there's just no free time. And you said, well, what's a solution? Like, how do we solve that problem? Every problem has a solution. What if you say to your mother, when are you guys going to be out of the house? So I have some free time to record this video for my channel. It's very important to me. Can you give me a heads up? And he did that. And mum said, yeah, I'm free at this time, blah, blah, blah. And anyway, the point is he solved that problem. And
yeah,
that seems like such a small, minor thing. But if you don't have the tools of, first of all, the knowledge that every problem has a solution, that you can figure something out and make it happen. And then, second of all, what those possible solutions could be, like
yeah,
communicate with your mother, communicate with other people, ask for help, like blah, blah, blah. If you don't have those tools, which children don't have those tools, like where the fuck would they have learned those tools from?
yeah,
But when you teach them, or give them that opportunity to start solving their own problems and work towards the things that they want. Mate, this isn't a small thing. This isn't just you
no,
going like, oh, I helped my son build a YouTube channel. It's got nothing to do with the fucking YouTube channel. You're teaching your son, you're teaching your children, you're teaching them not to wallow in helplessness. You're literally
yeah,
teaching them giant concepts like the universe is kind. You're allowed to have what you want. Other people are willing to step in if you ask for it. People want
yeah,
you to win and be victorious if you ask them to help you with that. Like you're teaching him literally stuff that is like almost a spiritual concept of like whatever you want, you're allowed to have. You're essentially telling him that the universe, on a small scale that will build up to this, you're teaching him the universe is abundant. And the things
yeah,
that you want, you're allowed to have. You don't have to sit
yeah,
around going, oh, I can't make this happen because mum's at home and I can't record. I guess I have to give up on my dreams. You're like, no, son, don't give up on your fucking dreams. There's plenty for all
yeah,
of us. So
yeah.
this is big shit, man.
Amen, Andy. Amen. And I don't know if it's like this. I haven't traveled much, so I really don't know. But I don't know if it's like this all over the world. But here in Norway, it's the pervasive mentality is like that, kind of
What is in
victimhood, I feel.
hopelessness?
Yeah, hopelessness, victimhood. Uh, pray that the state gives you what you want, or the politician, and if he doesn't, well, vote for someone else. So
I think that's just a very common thing across a lot of countries. I know like the
yeah,
Scandinavian countries, it's even more so because it's more like socialism mindset or like a collective mindset. Like society
yes,
has to give me what I want. Everyone out there has to give me what I want. And it's like, but
yeah,
why would they? They don't fucking know you. You
no,
will always be the best person in the best position to give yourself what you want. And that obviously
yeah,
involves asking other people for help, sure. But
yeah, yeah,
asking a group of people like society or the government or any of that, maybe that works. Maybe it doesn't. But yeah, you're teaching your son beautiful things.
thank you, and it's been a difference in him since I started the coaching too. He's taken a lot more responsibility upon himself, and uh, And I can see his mind shifting quite a bit. So,
Yeah.
and this is just the beginning, man. We're not long since I stopped the coaching, so this is just the beginning of a long journey.
You finished up your coaching like a month ago. So, we were talking before we sat down and recorded this podcast. And I said, there's been a few people in the coaching program that have come on that you don't know yet. And I've
Yeah.
talked to some of them about you already. Like, I'm already using you as like a bastion of, almost like a northern star of like, all right, like, what if you run towards like what Andreas has done and the courage that he's shown and the openness with his son and stuff like that.
Oh,
And I was recording a voice message for one of the people in the coaching group. And I was talking about you and your son and how you're teaching him that he can have what he wants and, doing these accountability check-ins with him. And basically you're treating him like a peer instead of, Daddy Andreas just tells his son what to do. Like, shut up and do what I say, son. You're now literally saying, all right, son, time to step up and start being a man. Like, come up to my level and we're going to talk as peers. And yes, obviously there's things that he doesn't like, but you're pulling him up to that level. And
yeah.
when I tell other people about this, I did a voice message the other day, dude. I was basically like crying with happiness when I was thinking about it, because I was saying like, Andreas is doing this with his son now, who's 13. And I was saying, holy fuck, can you guys even imagine where his son's going to be when he's 18? Like,
Yeah.
imagine, I was telling Imogen about this. I said, if he does a weekly check-in with his son, even just once a week, sit down. Son, what's important to you? How's your week going? What's working? What's not working? How can I help? How can I help you be the best man that you can be? If you do that even once a week, that's 52 times a year. Over the next 5 years, that's 250 times that your son gets to like not only bond with his fucking father, which is already like, or even just that alone is like, well, welcome to manhood. That's like the best path to a masculine man that I could ever think of. Just spend time with your fucking father every week. That's like intentional, dedicated time together. But not only that, you're facilitating his goals and who he wants to be as a person. You're helping him to like, not only are you shaping that, but you're letting him shape that, which is something that most kids don't get to do, especially most young men. And dude,
Yeah.
like I said, I was basically almost in tears with happiness when I was thinking, like, I said this to you when you're in the coaching. In my own life, my father was basically not there, and he did his best, and I don't hold it against him, and we've sort of patched that over to some extent, but he basically just wasn't there. He was there, but he basically ignored me. I basically didn't have a father. It's a big part of the reason why I went to prison. There were other factors, but that definitely contributed to it. And when I look at you and some of, we have a couple of other fathers in the coaching program as well right now. When I look at you, I can't help but shed a happy tear, because it's almost like that chance that I didn't get as a young man, as a 13-year-old boy whose father just wasn't able to be there for him. Your son gets you. And not only that, but you're being very intentional with the time that you spend with him, with how you help him facilitate his own future greatness. Dude, it literally brings a tear to my eye, like a beautiful fucking tear to my eye, when I'm like, God damn it. Like, I'm so fucking blessed that I get to know someone like you that's going through this and doing all of this, because it really does feel like I didn't get the childhood that I might have liked in some ways. And I get to watch your son have you as his guidepost. And that just absolutely fills me with so much fucking love, joy, gratitude, and just wonderment, man. I'm really fucking grateful that your son gets you.
Wow. Thanks, Samuel. Thank you. And like, I think the way I am as a father, I definitely stepped that up since we started coaching. But also I would say, like, at least the way I see it, one of the most important things you could do as a father is to embody whatever you're trying to teach. And that gets in some circles that gets some hate, oh, that is working hard and you should always be with the family, or you shouldn't ever focus on something else, and that's being bad or something.
As in, like,
We've
you
all seen the
almost
movies,
shouldn't be.
about the absent father, and like,
Yeah.
yeah, there's different reasons for being absent. So, but I think like I want to give, I want to spend a lot of time with him and give him a lot of skills and just have fun and enjoy each other's company and take with me all the stuff about. I never knew about accountability calls or accountability partners before going into the group, and that's just been massive up level in all sorts of ways.
Yeah, it's
And
a big part of the
just,
coaching. Yeah.
oh yeah, just bringing that with me into fatherhood, it's crazy. It's crazy. It's magical, really. And at the same time, working on myself and becoming a better Andreas. Uh, that
Yeah, you'll
has,
inspire him through that as well. Yeah.
yeah, I really believe what Jordan Peterson says. There's no real difference between helping yourself and helping someone else.
100%. Yep. Put on
Yeah,
your own oxygen mask before you help someone else with theirs.
yeah, yeah. So I'm trying to grow as a father, of course, but my main focus, I would say, because I don't know, I kind of always felt like a decent father.
Hmm.
Not that there's not room for growth. There always is, and I can see there's so much room for growth right now.
But that's
Always there will.
exciting as hell, you know?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
The only way is up.
Otherwise,
Yeah.
yeah, otherwise it would be boring. So there's so much room for growth there, but primarily, I'm trying just to grow this person because that spreads into everything else, and nothing has helped me more than my time with you, Andy. It was crazy. It was crazy.
I think, something else that I said in the accountability, like when I suggested, what if you do accountability check ins with your son? A big part of what I said was, and what you could do in those calls is share what you're doing to improve
Mhm.
and almost be a guidepost or an inspiration for your son. You've definitely been doing that. I think, for the first time, and this happens with a lot of people that come to the coaching, you've actually started to ask yourself, like, what do I want? Like, what do I want to do? Who do I want to be? But basically, what do I want instead of what should I do or what is the right answer? A lot of people come to the coaching and they're like, oh, Daddy Andy, can you please tell me the right answer? Tell me what I should do. Tell me exactly how to do this. Tell me the exact steps. And I think humanity is often looking for a quick fix or an easy answer or just the right answer. I think we're very hungry for what we think is the right answer. That's why we look to the
Yeah,
government, we look to celebrities, we look to YouTubers, people might look to me,
yeah,
and you want that like right answer. But a big part of coaching is me then basically holding up a mirror to you and saying, no, like it's not up to me to tell you what to do. You tell yourself what you want to do. So we start with that question, what do you want? And you embrace that a lot, man. I'm curious, like I already know the answer, but maybe fill some people in who are listening. What were you doing before? Were you just like guilt tripping yourself? Were you just like beating yourself up? Like, how did you try and be
yes.
productive before the coaching? Like, what were you doing?
I made the list of what I should do, and there was a time that worked on its
Hmm.
own, and I would just weak myself into doing those things, and
And then guilt trip yourself if you didn't do it, beat yourself up.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Or
I did that
like,
for years, man.
or even before I started with the guilt tripping. You better do this, man, or else.
Jesus Christ, bro. And it's like, it's funny because it's like, could you imagine talking to your son like that? You're just like, listen up,
Yeah,
you better not fuck up on this next test, all right? If you fuck up at school today, and I know
yeah,
some parents, do that, but it's like, Jesus Christ, like I wouldn't talk to would you talk to your best friend like that? Hey, bro, you better not fuck up today. Like,
yeah,
it's
yeah,
Jesus. But we talk to ourselves like that because we think that it makes us productive. And
yeah,
something you said before, it worked at the start. Yeah,
yeah.
it does work at the start.
Worked
Yep.
worked for a while.
And then what happens? What happened with you?
Just broke down. Just
Because
completely
who the
broke
fuck
down.
wants to be constantly whipped and like
Yeah,
abused, verbally, mentally, like told that they're a fucking piece of shit if they don't succeed, told that they're a loser if they ever fail. And that's how we treat ourselves by default. Like, especially people who are trying to achieve big goals, they tend to be the hardest
oh
on themselves. And it's like, who the
yeah.
hell can put up with whipping and abuse for like the next potentially 40 or 50 years of your life? Like, that's
Some
tiring.
do.
Oh,
Some
God,
do.
yeah. Yeah, and then get to the end and say, "Do you know there's a book called The Top 5 Regrets of the Dying?" And it talks about
Mm,
like the biggest regrets that people have when they're about to die. Like when they know they're going to die, they have like a few months or a few weeks left, like they have cancer or something. And this woman
yeah.
who worked as a nurse for like 50 years wrote a long list of like all the regrets that people had. And she said there were 5 that kept coming up constantly. And the first one, the most common one that ever came up was, I wish I hadn't worked so hard. Like
Yeah.
that's the number one thing. I wish I hadn't beaten myself up and forced myself to do things. And you know what? The second one was, I wish I had lived a life that was more true to myself instead of the life that others expected of me. And so it's
Yeah.
like, that's exactly what we talk about in the coaching program. It's like, use less force on yourself. Like, don't beat yourself up as much. Don't force yourself to do something. Don't use motivation and willpower and like cracking that whip. Less of that. Like, take away a little bit of that if we can. And then ask yourself, what do I actually want? What kind of life do I want to live? And then action or self improvement. Like, taking action becomes quite effortless. It doesn't take much effort to do something peacefully if it's what you want to do.
Yeah.
And that was something you absolutely embraced. But how was that switch for you? Because you came to the group, and I was basically in the early days, I was like, all right, Andreas, basically, we're going to do the opposite of everything you've done up until this point that's gotten you to this
Yeah.
point. So it worked for a while, and you had to like you chose to let go of some of the things that had worked. Like, how was that transition?
It was massive. It was ground shaking, the big. Because I remember this was the first or second week in coaching, and I started to really get the idea that well, first we set up what we call these minimum actions, and we can get
Yeah,
into
minimum
that
daily
later,
action.
perhaps.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's so OP. But we set up those minimum actions, and those take like 30 seconds or something. And I had done them for the day. And then I sat in a chair and I thought, I can do whatever I like.
bro.
And then my
It's
brain just exploded.
So let's define terms. So when we say minimum daily action, it's a concept that we have in the coaching program where we basically say, think of the least productive day that you could ever have. Like imagine that you're sick or something and you just have like no energy to do anything. What would be the bare minimum that you could do that day? And maybe the answer
Yeah,
is like, well, I could do 5 minutes of like work and then I could drive to the gym and lift the dumbbells for like 2 minutes and then go home. Okay, that's your bare minimum. Do that every day, and then you've succeeded. Anything after that is a bonus. And that seems silly at first because you're like, I'm not going to build a beautiful life fucking around in the gym for 2 minutes and then doing 2 minutes of work. Like, that's just
yeah,
not enough time to do anything. And it's like, yeah, but it's more than zero.
yeah.
And you're allowed to do more than that on any day that you want to. Obviously, the point is you're probably going to do more than that. But as long as you do that, you have succeeded. And because that is so pathetically small, it's like the bare minimum that you could do. There's never going to be a day that you don't do it. And so what
No,
you're training yourself is literally every day, I am successful. Every day I win. No matter what, there's no exceptions to that. Every day I win. And
yeah,
anything after that is a bonus. And you do this a couple of days in a row and you start to feel like you said, you feel like, that bare minimum took, I don't know, maybe 20 minutes. You know, some people's bare minimums take 5 minutes. That didn't, and you're the one that comes up with the bare minimum, to be clear. Like it
yeah,
has to be what you define as the bare minimum, not me or someone else. You do that bare minimum, you feel like you succeeded, and then you're like, I'm already a winner today.
yeah,
Well, as a winner, I'm probably going to do more because that's what winners do. Winners do more. And so you're starting off basically with a positive mindset, and then you end up doing 10,000 times more than you did when you were like cracking the whip and calling yourself a loser and saying, I'm
Yeah.
not doing enough. What the fuck is wrong with me? Because when you abuse yourself, which again, a lot of people do in self-improvement, I did that for years. When you abuse yourself and call yourself a loser, well, a loser doesn't do a lot of stuff. A loser isn't very productive. If you call yourself a loser, or you call yourself an idiot, or you call yourself not good enough, why would the person that's not good enough be massively successful? But if you just do the bare minimum, and then you can do more than that if you want to, you're a winner every day. And winners do more. Winners succeed. So yeah, it's such a simple reframe, but it
Mm,
changes the world. It really does.
And it's even more. Here's a different aspect to it, because those minimum actions, if you set them up right, they're like, I don't know if you got a sweet tooth or something, but some type of candy, it's hard to only eat one.
Yep.
So
I
so
know what
you
you're going to say.
start to yeah, you start to just wet your tongue with something that you're passionate about, and 6 hours later, and you've done this whole thing, and it's just been from the joy of your heart. And I heard a great story just yesterday. A dear friend of mine, he was fired from his job, and he told himself, well, I'm going to take a week now, and I'm just going to sit and feel sorry for myself and lament all my mistakes, and I will be as pathetic as I possibly can be if I want to. It went, he said, it went half a day, and then by the third day, he had wrote an entire business plan of a new business. And when he talked to me, he had this fire inside of him, man. I've never seen, man, he was almost exploding through the screen. And I told him, man, that's so powerful. And that's what happens, man, if you just allow yourself to be what you are,
Yep.
kind of.
That is
Just
what give
stop.
yourself permission to suck is for.
Yeah,
That's why I say
yeah,
that. Yeah.
yeah. And that's the minimum actions too, has been so for me. And every time yeah, it happens. Now and again, you wake up, you feel like, oh man, today I don't want to do anything. I'm like,
Hmm.
Okay, that's perfectly fine, man. Just do your minimum stuff. Takes me 3 minutes, and then we'll sit and stare stupidly into a wall. and,
Dude,
and
yeah.
pretty soon you're doing all sorts of stuff.
You don't know how many like everything that I've built. Let's just take my YouTube channel. Let's take like this community, coaching, YouTube, my blog, like everything to do with this thing called the Kill You're in a Loser project. You don't know how many hundreds of times I have not wanted to do anything. Like I wake up and I go, I don't want to. No, I don't. I just want to play fucking
Yeah,
video games. And so
yeah,
I'll say to myself, okay, well, what's the bare minimum today? Spend 2 minutes working on the business. I'll do the 2 minutes and then I'll go, okay, I'm allowed to lay on the couch and play video games for the rest of the day if I want to. I can do nothing. I can literally just have the least productive day ever.
yeah.
And I'll lay on the couch for like 10 minutes or maybe even half an hour and I'll go, I feel pretty good now. I feel like just laying on the couch felt really nice. I wasn't there beating myself up and
No,
wasting energy every second that I was laying on the couch. I literally laid on the couch and chilled and recharged my batteries and just did nothing. I kind of don't want to just lay on the couch for the next 12 hours. Like, that doesn't sound very fun. I think I actually want to record a podcast. And it's funny that we talk about this. I mean, this is just such a common occurrence. Like, this probably happens like twice a week. But today was one of those days for me. It's 6 p.m. right now as I talk. But I woke up at like 5 a.m. and I just felt like I don't want to do anything today. Like, my brain was literally saying, oh, I got to sit down and record a podcast tonight with Andreas. Oh, is there some way I could cancel on him? Could I reschedule? And I thought about that and I was like, no, I don't want to reschedule. I like Andreas and we've put that time in and we're going to go there. And, the point is, I really didn't want to do anything today. Like everything
No.
in my head was just going, I don't want to do anything. And so instead of beating myself up or forcing myself or saying, no, you have to, I literally said to myself, look, if it gets to halfway through the day and I want to reschedule with Andreas, I'm allowed to. If I want to lay on the couch all day today and do literally nothing, I'm allowed to. If I want to just play video games, I'm allowed to. I'm allowed to do those things. What's the bare minimum? Okay, I'll go to the gym for a minute and fuck around, and then I'll go home and work on the business for 2 minutes, and that's it. And so I did that. And guess what happened? I went to the gym, and it's like, well, I'm not just going to sit here and do nothing. I've already made it to the gym. I may as well do something. So I worked out.
Mm.
I didn't mean to.
Yeah.
I just accidentally
No.
worked out because I was there.
Yeah.
I laid on the couch for maybe an hour watching YouTube, and I had a pretty good time. I watched some pretty funny videos. I felt really good. I listened to a bit of music, and then I was like, I think I want to do something. So I ended up editing 3 videos and I've uploaded them. I made the YouTube thumbnails for them, did everything that it took to do that. They're now about to be up, or they're already uploaded. They'll be scheduled later this month. I sat down here with you, obviously, to do this. I wrote notes for this podcast to prepare for it. I went for a long walk with Imogen. I read a bunch of my self-help books. I reached out to a couple of potential clients. I posted and answered every single person's questions in the coaching group. A whole bunch of other shit. Clean the entire fucking house. I forgot about that. I like spring
Yeah.
cleaned the entire house. Like did just a whole bunch of washing, just like a whole bunch of stuff. Why? Because I told myself I don't have to do those things. And that
Yeah.
is the secret. It's the weird reframe. It's not weird when I've been doing that for like 10 years at this point, but it's weird when you first embrace it, when you're like, wait, if I tell myself I don't have to do anything, there's a very good chance I'll actually do more than if I forced myself. And it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, a lot of the time that's the case. So it's a
Yeah.
weird thing to wrap your head around, man. But what a beautiful world you get to step into. You're no longer using force. In other words, what I'm saying here is baby steps.
Yeah.
And a lot of the time, someone will sit there and they'll say, you know, I have too much weight to lose. I can't lose weight. Or I'm just too tired today. I can't do anything. Or I'm just depressed and hopeless. I can't do anything. Like, I was depressed for 9 years. I was suicidal for 9 years. I understand depression. I've worked with people and helped them get through their own depression. Depression's a big one where everything feels insurmountable. Or your goals are too scary. They're too impossible. But you step up to the plate and you say, okay, I don't have to do the goal. I don't have to overcome the depression. That's just too hard. It's too scary, too big. What can I do though? Is there anything I could do right now? Is there one tiny little pathetically small baby step that I could take right now? Is there anything I could do? Okay, what if I just try that? And then you do that step, and hey, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. Before you know it, you're just automatically taking steps, and you go, what the fuck? When did
Yeah.
this happen? When did I come
Yeah.
productive? And it's like, funnily enough, when you gave yourself permission to suck, that's when the magic started to happen.
And you're not grinding up against something while you're working. That's so big, at least for me, because that means the day didn't really tax you. It was
Oh,
it
dude.
was kind of fun.
Dude,
And
yeah. Self-improvement for so many people is painful because they're making themselves do it. They're forcing themselves
yeah,
using willpower, motivation, discipline, and they fucking hate it. It's a
yeah,
grind.
yeah. After 2 days of that, you need to drink again,
Yeah,
because
let alone like try that for 5 years, which is about how long it took me before I had a breakdown, and you were doing it for a long time too. It works for a while, to be very clear. The like
yeah,
Sigma male grind set, like
yeah,
the hustle culture, that works. That's brilliant. Like some
yeah,
people, particularly extreme people, like your
yeah,
Gary V's, your David Goggins, those kind of people,
mm,
Jocko Willink, like
yeah,
understand that these people are freaks of nature who can grind for years. Alex Hormozy. But
yeah,
even then, they will tell you they're not grinding. They like what they're doing. It's effortless
yeah,
and fun for them. Alex Hormozy, who's one of my favorite entrepreneur like people that I follow, literally said, I work 16 hours a day. People ask me, how the fuck do you work 16 hours a day? And he's like, because it's not work. I love it. You couldn't stop me from doing this. This is
yeah,
fun for me. Like, I'm not working for 16 hours. I'm playing with my business for 16 hours. Like, I enjoy that. So, yeah, I think there's this obsession or this fetishization, this glamorous idea of like hustle and grind and push and force and like crack that fucking whip because it seems
yeah,
sexy at the start. and it does get you a little bit of progress and success at the start. To be clear, I'm not saying it's bad, and neither
No.
I don't think you're saying that. It's just not sustainable in anyone that I've ever seen. I've never seen anyone that can force themselves and beat themselves up and call themselves a failure or a piece of shit if they're not productive. I've never seen anyone that can do that for more than 5 years. And I don't know about everyone listening, but I want to be doing self-improvement when I die. Like,
Yeah. I'm at a point now, Andy, because of the time in coaching with you, that whatever I do, whatever I achieve, it will be through this way. This
through this
let's
method of like, what do you want? Like
yeah,
effortless. Yeah.
yeah, like Bruce Lee said, flow like water. Uh,
Dude, yes.
yeah, and it will be through that way because, and I just had some experiences. I work in sales, right, and there's so much to do and so much to learn. It's never ending. It's crazy, and the leads are flowing in. This is all blessings. Like I feel so blessed. I feel
Good
so
problems to
blessed.
have. Yeah. We got too
Yes,
much work, too many sales leads. Yeah. Too many
yeah,
opportunities. Yeah.
yeah. Just it's a dream come true, but it also can be quite stressful, and sometimes some people come in and they say, "Okay, I want a gold Rolex, 18 carats," and then your mind goes to, shit, the commissions, man. The commissions on this one. You better do a good job, Andreas. And then the tyrant
Yeah, you
comes
better
back.
not fuck this up. Dude, I get the
Yeah.
same thing. If somebody reaches out to me and they're like, hey, I'm thinking of doing your one-on-one, like your highest tier coaching, my brain will automatically, you'll hear that little voice in the head, I better not fuck this up. Every
Yeah.
single time I would take a breath and go, I'm allowed to suck. Nothing bad
Yeah.
happens if I don't do a good job of this. I can do the worst job in the entire world, and that will be a beautiful learning lesson. I'll do better the time
Yeah.
after that.
Yeah. And I feel like when I do this, if it ever gets to my head and the tyrant comes in and I let that be the dominating voice, I suck. And I do a terrible job at meeting the person where they are, seeing them and getting to the heart of what's important for them. What drives them to come here and celebrate this occasion with me and get a new watch, and I lose my smile, I lose my spring in my step, and I lose all of that. And I just said to my friend last night, I'm not losing that anymore. At least as an ideal. I might not be perfect with it, but my North Star will always be keep the smile on your face, keep the spring in your step, man, because it's fun and it's connecting. It's
Mm.
really connecting to the people. And that's why I really love sales. It's when it's done well, as you well know, and it's about like really seeing the person that's in front of you, really seeing them and helping them.
Yeah, you're connecting them with what they want rather than trying to sell at them or talk at them.
Yeah, yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
I
And they
really
can
like what
feel
you.
it. People
Yeah,
can
go ahead.
feel it so like they
Mm.
feel it a mile away when your head is on the commission, not on them.
Mm. Yeah, 100%. I like what you said before. You basically said very similar to something that I've thought a few times when I'm like hyper focused on I better do a good job of coaching today, or I better really change this person's life. I better really make the most of this coaching call with them. Like I better, in other words, I better do a good job. I better not fuck this up. I then literally am not as present with that person. I'm too in my own head thinking, oh, that thing you just said, was that good? Was that bad? Like that wasn't, you didn't do a good enough job helping this person. I'm literally not present. I'm not paying attention. I'm not listening. And something that I've gotten pretty decent at over the years is in my head, there's a mantra that I heard from one of my favorite people, David Hawkins.
Yeah,
And he was a psychologist, like a counselor, among other things. And he said, my mission is not to fix the person or to do a good job. My mission is to love them. and just focus on the
Yeah.
love. And like, I've found that has been a game changer. You could do the same thing if you're a guy going out there, like approaching women. Let's say
Yeah.
you're like trying to build your sex life or your dating life or find a girlfriend or whatever, rather than going up to women and thinking, I have to do a perfect job. I have to say the right thing. I have to be charismatic. I have to be energetic. And by the way, women worry about these things too. So, any women listening,
Yeah.
anyone listening, if you're going on a date or meeting someone that you're interested in, rather than thinking or putting emphasis on, I have to do a good job, I better not fuck this up. It's like, chill a little bit, give yourself permission to suck. It's okay if you're awkward. It's okay if you look like an idiot. It's okay if you don't know what the fuck you're saying. It's okay to not be perfect. You're a human being. Congratulations, you're imperfect, like I am, like Andreas is. Welcome to humanity. You're not perfect. But take away that pressure. And if you just focus on something like, I will do my best, or I will just see if this person is interesting and if we click and if we have a connection, or I just want to have a good time, or I'll just see what happens. If you can just have that mindset, funnily enough, you actually are more connected. And 9 times out of 10, the conversation goes better. And if it doesn't, you don't care because you gave
No.
yourself permission for it not to be perfect.
Yeah. And in sales, probably if it didn't go. No, it's sales and it's different because there's so much to learn, and you can even that's just it's a big huge chunk of it is how approach how present are you focused on the person, you can still fuck it up. That's why it's an art form into itself. But at least I found it, and I would say this if anyone's listening, and if you're thinking that you really want to achieve big things, I would say don't sleep on Andy as a coach, because he does this better than anyone. Helps you to get connected, presence, and get the joy back into your life. And I got a new life now. It's a new life, really.
Yeah, it's an awakened life. I think you definitely woke up. I think you
Yeah,
were primed and ready for it, though. Like I said, most people that come to coaching, we screen for people that are like pretty ready.
yeah,
And you're the one that does the work. I'm kind of just there to guide you and to bring it back to the original, statement is like, what do you want? What do you want? What do you want? And I found that most people, when I ask them that question, like, what do you actually want? Most people don't want to be perfect. They think they do.
yeah,
But what they actually want is to just be fucking okay for once. Like, I just want to fucking feel okay. Like, that's what most
yeah,
people say if they're
yeah,
honest. If I get people drunk and I'm like, what do you want from life? They're like, I just want to know that I'm doing okay. I just want to feel okay. I just want to be happy.
yeah.
And giving yourself permission to suck is a way to do that now, like a way to
Hmm.
have happiness and peace now without requiring you to become super confident and know everything that you have to say and make a ton of money
Yeah,
and then fucking have the best job in the world and then have sex. I'm someone that has been working in self-improvement. I guess you could phrase that as like improving myself since I was like 21 when I first came out of prison. But even then, before then, I was doing self-improvement. So like since 20, I've been
yeah,
hardcore into self improvement and really, really, really hardcore since about 28 years. Since I was 28, I'm now like 37. So, like 9 or 10 years of hardcore self improvement.
yeah.
If I had told myself that I can't be happy until I'm successful, Jesus Christ, I still wouldn't be happy. I still have a big tax debt that I'm paying off. So, by financial accounts, I'm not successful. We could tell the story that I'm not successful. So, do I not be happy there? I
Yeah.
still have goals with my body. I don't have the physicality, like the muscles and the leanness that I want. Am I a failure? I know you don't either. You're not the way that
No,
like your body isn't at the point that you want to get it to. Does that mean we're both
no,
failures? Do we just sit there and be unhappy until we reach the promised land of I've achieved all my goals?
yeah,
That might take for some people listening, if you have big goals, it might take you fucking 20 years to achieve all your big goals. Are you going to be unhappy for 20 years? But if you can
yeah,
give yourself permission to suck, in other words, if you can say, maybe I'm okay as I am right now, and I'd like to
yeah,
just be a little bit better at each day. If you can just embrace that and that permission to suck and then taking some baby steps and blah, 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 man, life is a lot more peaceful and happy. You get to be happy now. You don't have to wait fucking 10, 15, 20 years. And you
yeah,
don't have the chance of failure. Like, so many people pin all their happiness on, I have to become a millionaire. But in
Yeah.
saying that statement or in declaring that goal and then attaching to it so strongly that you say, I can't be happy unless I get a girlfriend, or I can't be happy unless I get married, or I can't be happy unless everybody fucking loves me on the internet. If you attach that strongly to that and say, that's the only time I'm allowed to be happy, when I achieve that goal, you inherently know in your head there's a small chance, or there's a decent chance, that I might not achieve that goal. I might not make it. Like,
Yeah.
everyone knows that when they set a goal. And so
Yeah.
what? You're going to risk your happiness. You're going to gamble your happiness and say, if I achieve the goal, great, I can be happy. If I don't achieve the goal, oh, fuck, what am I unhappy for the rest of my life? That's why we say skip that bullshit. Like, still set the goal. Still go for those things. They sound amazing. Make $1 million. That sounds cool as fuck. I would love to do that. But in going for those goals, enjoy the journey. Enjoy the now. Be okay
Yeah.
as you are right now and be a little bit better in the future.
Yeah. Yeah. Amen, man. There's another thing you told me at the end of coaching, which I doubted, but you were right. Well, so far it seems you were right. I dropped 6 pounds since we started coaching. I'm a big guy, so it takes a while to really show, but still, I dropped 6, maybe 7 pounds, and all the while through coaching, we had different things to focus on. So right at the end of it, I said, well, I feel like I'm making progress in just about everything except weight loss. And you told me, and your co-coaches, which are also absolute killers in their own right, told me, just focus on it. And if you want it, just keep on wanting it and focus on it. And I have, and it's helped tremendously. Of course, dropping 7 pounds for me isn't a goal, but you have to drop 7 pounds before you can drop 8. So, and before you can drop 60, you have to drop 59, I guess.
Yeah, 1 pound at a time.
So,
Yeah.
yeah. So, fuck, where was I going with this? It's helped. Yeah, that's the thing. I've done it without discipline. It's
Dude,
just,
yeah.
it blows my head. It's taken no discipline. And
Dude, I did an
that's,
article. Sorry, you finish and then I'll go on my rant. But yeah, you don't need
yeah,
discipline.
that's it keeps on blowing my mind each day. I had one day inside the coaching where I really started. All you guys were telling me you don't need discipline, and I finally it started to sink in a bit. And I couldn't sleep. I didn't sleep at all that night because my brain was going, well, if I don't need discipline, that's just about the only thing that's ever stopped me from doing anything is a
Yeah, I
lack
know,
of
dude.
discipline.
Dude, oh god, I'm gonna. Oh god, yeah.
So I was like, oh my God, the world is my playground now.
Dude, okay, so there are certain barriers to success that people invent, and they insert it. They
Yeah.
do what I call inserting an extra step. How many of you guys listening right now maybe want to go out and talk to a woman? Like, you want to go out to women on the street and be like, "Hi, you're pretty." Like, you want to
Yeah.
do that. You want to talk to some lovely ladies, but you're telling yourself the bullshit story, but you think it's true, but it's a bullshit story, that you have to be confident before you can do that. No. What the fuck is confidence? Confidence is something that comes with competence. You become
Yeah.
confident once you get competent at something, once you get decent at something. In other words, once you have done something enough times and practiced it, then you don't care if you're not perfect. You don't worry so much about rejection. You somewhat know what you're doing and you're relatively confident with it. In other words, confidence is something that you earn. It's not a barrier to success. That is what
Mhm.
give yourself permission to suck is for. It's to get you to go out there and get to a point where you don't suck anymore by doing it, by sucking at the start. And another like barrier to entry that people invent is what you said, discipline. People will
Yeah.
go, I'm not a disciplined person. Therefore, I can't lose the, I don't know, 20 pounds that I want to lose. I'm not a disciplined person. I could never go to the gym. It's like, do you think every bodybuilder on the planet just woke up disciplined? No, they were all lazy at the start too.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
in your case, like you said, for full context with what you're talking about, when you came to the coaching program, losing weight was one of your goals. And like you said, you lost 6 or 7 pounds in the coaching program. That's pretty decent. But you were focused on like 10,000 other goals that you had achieved and made huge progress with. You know, your son, your fucking frame of mind and your mental health, like leaving your job to then go, like a job you were unhappy with, to then go to a sales job and get mentorship and start doing that and make some money through that. Like you did a fucking hell of a lot. And you were kind of frustrated with yourself at the end of coaching. You were like, man, I've done all these things, but I haven't really lost much weight, even though you lost like 6 or 7 pounds, which is still fucking progress. But you were like, I feel like I haven't lost a lot of weight. And I was like, what do you mean? Like you were beating yourself up, to be clear. You were kind of like being a little bit like, you're putting pressure on yourself. You're going like, man, I kind of wish I'd done more than this. And I was like, what do you mean? You didn't even focus on weight loss. And you were like, but how can I lose weight? Like, I'm so worried that I can't lose weight and I'll never lose weight. And I was like, you weren't trying to, and you accidentally lost 6 or 7 pounds. Like, this wasn't even a goal that you were prioritizing. It's literally just a priorities thing. You just were
Yeah.
working on other goals. And the same thing, like, people will put this pressure on themselves and say, I have to be disciplined to achieve my goal. No, you just make that goal a priority. Like, if it's a priority, you will naturally start doing it. How do you make it a priority? You start with tiny little baby steps. Like, if you want to lose weight, go to the gym once with a friend so it's fun and just fuck around in the gym and have fun there. And then you go, well, that was kind of fun. I kind of liked that. Or you take an exercise class that's fun. Go to fucking Pilates or something. You go there once with that little baby step, you have fun with it, and you go, that was kind of cool. Could I maybe go 2 times a week? And you start slowly building up. And then at some point, you've shown yourself, oh, this must be a priority for me because I've taken all these baby steps. Maybe this is important to me. You're like literally showing yourself that you can trust yourself enough to take the baby steps and go to the thing. Then it becomes a priority for you because it's fun, it becomes something you want to do. Then you just naturally do it because you want to, because it's fun. Why the fuck wouldn't you do the thing that starts giving you tiny little rewards and little payoffs? And oh wow, I do feel good when I go to yoga once a week, or when I go talk to one woman on the street and tell her that she's pretty. I get some positive feedback. My friends encourage me. Okay, I think I'll keep doing this. And then you're doing it. And then 3 months or 6 months into it, it's now a habit. You're doing it regularly. And then at some point, something clicks in your head and you're like, wait, did I just accidentally become disciplined?
Yeah.
Like, am I disciplined now because I'm doing this like 3 times a week? That's pretty disciplined. Or like one of your friends says, wow, I could never have the discipline to go to the gym like you do 3 times a week.
Yeah.
And you're like, I'm not disciplined. I'm lazy as fuck. Half the time I don't want to go to the gym. So I just tell myself the bare minimum thing of like, walk to the gym and sit in the gym for 1 minute. I go to the gym for a minute and then I'm there. So I work out accidentally anyway. I'm not
Yeah.
disciplined. I'm the laziest motherfucker on the planet. And that was sort of
Yeah.
what I said to you in the coaching. You were like, I don't have discipline. And I was like, bitch, I'm the laziest fucker in the world. Like, I'm so lazy. You don't
Yeah.
understand. Like, even then, lazy is just a story. But, you know, you could say that I'm lazy as fuck. I lay on the couch. There's a beautiful couch right in front of me. Actually, it's kind of a cheap couch, but I like that couch. I lay on the couch all the time. Sometimes I just lay in bed. Like, I'm not disciplined. How have I achieved everything? Giving myself permission to suck, taking tiny little baby steps every day and doing the bare minimum each day, and not putting pressure on myself to do any more than that. It really is a cheat code, dude. You can sidestep confidence, discipline, all these bullshit words that like people think are mandatory. And entire industries are set up to sell you on, by the way. And I'm not saying they're scamming you. I'm not saying they're scamming you. That's not at all what I'm saying.
No.
You know,
No.
I have nothing against the discipline community or the like Sigma male grind set community or the like masculinity community or like, you know, the
No.
motivation community. I have nothing against them. I'm just saying, like, if you want to, you can just like ignore those whole communities and go like, all right, so I'll just take one baby step today. And then I don't need to go and read 10 books on confidence. I don't need to read 20 books on motivation and discipline. I
Yeah.
don't need to listen to like David Goggins yelling at me. And again, nothing against David Goggins. I love David Goggins. He has changed so many
Yeah.
fucking lives, but it's not
Oh yeah.
mandatory is what I'm saying. It's not
No.
mandatory. Discipline,
No.
willpower, motivation, and confidence are not mandatory.
No, no, that's so. And I think, at least for me, this is right at the heart that what makes your coaching so unique. It's so different from what I expected, just radically different from what I expected. And I listen to Joe Rogan. I'm a huge Joe Rogan fan, really. I
I
am.
love Joe Rogan.
Uh, yeah, he's so great. And he was talking about his ice bath that he takes every morning.
Mhm.
And uh, he said that, well, each morning I feel that I don't want to take that ice bath. But I've so used to arguing with the voice in my head that I win the argument, then I take the ice bath. And then I feel great. And he framed it like he was arguing with the voice and winning, and that was a muscle. And this is what you usually hear. And you build that muscle, like the argumentative, basically kind of a tyrant that punches through
Yeah, almost
the
like you're at war
resistance.
with your own mind. It's like you don't
Yeah,
trust or love your own mind and you're
no,
at war with it. You see your own mind as an enemy.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I think he's got it uh, because I started noticing in myself, like once I do the minimum, let's say I wake up one day, don't feel like doing anything, do the minimum, and then I happen to feel like doing a bunch of stuff. And then I grind. It's not really a grind, but I do a bunch of stuff like we just spoke about. And like you told me about your day there, and you do a bunch of stuff. And you have done a bunch of stuff, and you made your life in that day. You've taken so many steps forward, and that feels so good. That feels amazing. At least to me, that feels like the best feeling in the world. I made myself, I made my life that much better today, and not because I didn't even have to. I just
Yeah.
wanted to.
Because I wanted
And the
to.
day,
Yeah.
yeah, and the day after, my body remembers. So the day after, when I wake up and I tell myself, oh, I don't feel like doing anything today. Okay, do the minimum. And then lay on the couch. And then I lay on the couch. But the body remembers. Remember yesterday? We collected all this light yesterday. We collected, that felt good. Maybe we can do something like that today. Because the body remembers. This is how it feels to me. And then I start talking to myself like, okay, I really don't want to do anything, but could I do like some pathetic shit? Could I like brush my teeth or take a 5 minute
Yeah. Something
walk or
really
something?
small. Yeah.
Yeah. And I try to tell myself whenever I do something small, oh, that was so OP. Man, going for a walk is so OP. You did that. And then all of a sudden I'm collecting light and I get addicted to it. It's like a fun little game of collecting light each day. And as you can probably tell, I'm happy as a bird, man. And it's all due to the time in coaching. And there's another thing. I know I'm rambling a bit here, but there's another thing you have spoken about is I wish that the states all over the world did this in psychiatric care, by the way, that they looked at making themselves obsolete. Because you say, once you sign up with me, not only will you get the coaching, whatever, if it's one-on-one or the group coaching, not only will you get that, but you'll get the Discord group, which I'm now enjoying and connecting with all these sorts of killers and having all this support system for the rest of my life, mind you.
Yeah. Coaching
And
for the rest of your life is the point of the coaching program. Yeah.
yes, yeah. So I wish we did that in healthcare, man. That because we're like, okay, the situation right now, how do we cover so nothing goes to absolute hell right now? But we're not thinking, how do we make ourselves obsolete over the long haul?
Mm.
How do we give so much value that the person coming here, this is the last time they ever need to come here?
Yeah, that was kind of one of the
Yeah,
missions of that is one of the missions of the coaching. Everyone listening, understand, like, whether you sign up for coaching or you just listen to the content, the point of coaching and the point of my content is to show you that you don't need me, or to help lift you up to a point where you don't need me. And you can still keep watching if you want to, I don't mind, but like, that you don't tell yourself that you don't feel like, oh fuck, I don't have the answers, I don't know what to do. Like, we've very much set up the coaching, and I try and set up all of my content. There's a reason I've done at this point like 1,700 pieces of content in like 4 years. I'm trying to get everything that's in my head, like all the beautiful things that all of my coaches and books I've read, and all the wonderful people that have shown me so many helpful tools, techniques, reframe, just everything that I've learned. I'm trying to get that out there so that people go, okay, like, cool. Hopefully you get like 10% of the way into my content, like you watch like 10% of it or whatever, and you go, oh, I don't need this bold guy. Like, he's taught me enough now. I should be okay now. Like, that's my fucking point. That's the
yeah,
whole point of the coaching, especially because in the early days, I've told this story a lot. In the early days of coaching, I would do everything I could to change people's lives. And, I would help them achieve big goals and teach them the framework of achieving goals and happiness and all of that. But I found a lot of people would go away, like, they'd go through the coaching, they'd go away, and like a year later or 6 months later, they would email me and they would say, I need more coaching. Like, I have this new problem. I'm not okay. And they would come to me for coaching, and I'd walk them through that again. And then, a year later, oh, I need more coaching. And I'd go, at some point, I was like, it's not about responsibility, but at some point, I was like, I want to take on the responsibility of trying to change or improve the rest of their lives if I can. Obviously, they need to be willing. They're the one that does the
yeah.
work. I'm just showing them. But I want to try and genuinely change people's lives or impact their life for the rest of their life. Almost like a fucking university degree for them in some way. I want them to go forward with the tools and the techniques and the mindsets and the self love, I guess you would say, but the ability to look inside themselves and say, okay, I'll figure out the answer here. Like, I'll figure out what to do, or I'll ask for help. Like, Andy's shown me enough, and the other coaches, they do a lot too. These guys have shown me enough of how to solve my own problems and how to be okay. And they've taught me all of this stuff. I don't really need them. And they're there if I want them. I'm not going to turn
Mhm.
someone down if they want to come to me for more coaching. And so far in the last like 2 years, 4 people, 5 people, maybe 5 people have come back to me for more coaching. Fine. But the vast majority of people go into, like you said, we have like a Discord group. We have a members only Discord that is essentially free coaching forever, like for until you die, basically. And that was something that I implemented because I was like, if I can get all these people to keep each other accountable and have accountability partners and like coach each other and coach themselves, and I'll teach them how to do that. And the other coaches are in the Discord as well, coaching people. Yeah, they'll actually achieve the big things that they want in life. But you're right that isn't necessarily something that most coaches do because it's poor for
No,
business. Like, it's not a good
yeah,
business plan to like make it so that
it's
people
terrible.
don't need you. Yeah, so like mate, it's funny because like a year ago I was under a lot of stress with business because this, but like, for anyone else that cares, like, everything I'm building with the Kill Your Inner Loser project, I have massive, insane, huge dreams. Not personal dreams, but dreams for like how we can help other people, how we can improve people's lives, and all of that. I'm not here to make money. Like, I make money as a consequence, but I make money solely so that I can fucking do this and pour all of my time and energy into this and pay my coaches and pay Imogen and all of that kind of stuff. Like, I'm doing this because I have giant, big fucking dreams. And anyway, a year ago, I was really stressed about money because a lot of the decisions that I intentionally make in building all of this are not financial, not what you would do if you were trying to make money. And so I went to a coach, essentially a therapist, to say, like, "Look, I'm really fucking stressed out of my mind. I'm sleeping like 3 hours a night. Like, some months I can't pay the bills and I have to like hustle and bring people in and all of this kind of stuff." So I spoke to this therapist, and he just sort of like gently was like, "What you're doing in your business is fucking stupid. And he's a very spiritual guy too. So I thought he would get it. I thought he would be like, yeah, you have big dreams for the Kill You're Gonna Loser project. That's why you're giving away your video course for $1. That's why your ebooks are a $1, because you don't want some guy to be sitting there going, oh, I don't have $100 or $200 or $1,000. I can't afford this. I guess I just have to be depressed. That's why all my content is like $1 or free. And yeah, the coaching costs more money because you're getting my fucking time. But that's why I offer the $200 coaching calls, because like not everyone can afford the big coaching program, but you can at least, probably some of you pay $200. If you can't, that's why I do free live streams every couple of months where I answer your questions for free. Like I'm trying to do everything I fucking can to help as many people. But this therapist basically said, what you're doing is fucking stupid. Like, why is your video course $1, you fucking idiot? And I was like, because I don't want some guy or some girl to be sitting there depressed and they can't change their life because they don't have $200.
Yeah.
And plus, the person that might need this video course the most is probably the person who least has money to spend on it. And so, anyway, but the point was, he was like, this is a really dumb way to do your business. Why do you have a free fucking coaching, like, members only accountability section that people stay in for life? Why the fuck aren't you charging them $50 or $100 a month for that? Like, think how much money you would make. And I was just like, because some of them won't stay in there, and then they might go off and be by themselves and not achieve goals. If they're in there keeping each other accountable and having that network, they never have to feel alone. I've had depressed and suicidal clients. I don't want them to feel alone. Anyway, the point is, you know, I intentionally set it up like this. It was never done. It was never done. I appreciate you saying God bless you, but that was never the intention. The intention was very much like a feedback loop of, okay, a lot of people are coming through this, or some people are coming through this coaching program, and they're just coming back for more. Obviously, I wasn't able to change their life. How can I change that? And that's why it's set up like this. Because, yeah, it's like you said, you're someone that deeply cares about humanity. That's why you work in fucking healthcare and with children. Like, although now you're doing like the watch sales and stuff like that. Point is, you deeply fucking care about humanity. And so I know that you get this, but yeah, it always comes back to that, because that's what I want. That's what you want.
Yeah. And that's why I started in healthcare, because I wanted to give. And with the watch sales, it's not much different. That's one of the things I discovered. Man, you could be all fucked up in a psych ward, or you could have $1 million and want to celebrate that you just bought half of BlackRock or something. But either way, it's so many of the same principles. Like meeting a person, actually seeing them, like deeply seeing them, and that's as much appreciated, at least so far. It seems like that's as much appreciated if you're on top of the world or if you're down in the dumps, man.
Yeah, everybody, Mother Teresa said this, everybody just wants love and dignity.
Yeah.
And I said that to you when you first moved away from your healthcare job and you moved into this like watch sales job. I said, every customer that you meet, every customer that you talk to, you have a chance to give them some love. You have a chance to, like, rather than just selling to them or selling at them, like, hey, give me some fucking money, here's a watch or whatever. Like, rather than going through that, and you were never going to, that's just like not you as a person anyway, but like, rather than seeing it just as a sales job, it's like there's a very strong opportunity here for this to be an act of love, a chance of love. Like, give someone a beautiful watch. Like, this watch could be a gift for a husband, which in some cases it has been. You've literally, and so it could be like a gift for a husband. That's a fucking act of love. You get to be there during that moment. You get to help facilitate that. You pour all of the love that you possibly can into helping someone buy the watch for them. Because, by the way, like, your job isn't just like, I'm selling this watch. Okay, here's a Rolex, go away. It's like people will come to you and say, I don't know what kind of watch. I want a very special watch that I'm going to pour a lot of money into, because hopefully this will last for the next 50 years. And this is a very sentimental gift for someone that's very fucking important to me. I know nothing about watches. Can you walk me through that decision? And that's not every customer. Some customers just want a Rolex or something. But lots of them, it's like, an act of love. And so you get to pour all the love that you possibly can into that. That's why I said to you, and you already knew this, you already had this mindset, but I was like, this can be more than just a sales job, dude. This can be like, I've said this before, like every job has the opportunity for it to be a small act of love. Mother Teresa
Oh yeah.
talked about that shit too. If you just work in a fucking retail or something, every customer
Oh
that
yeah.
comes in, if you meet them with a smile, if you're present for their questions, if you just have nothing but like positive intentions or kind intentions in your head when you deal with them, they get to walk away feeling a little bit better. And Mother Teresa said this: we never know all the good that can come from a simple smile. And she also said, a smile is an act of love. It is the first step of peace. And you get to
Yeah.
be that. You get to be even more than that. So, yeah, man.
Yeah. Yeah. This is this is the most fun I've ever had professionally because
Because you're doing what you want.
it's what I want. It's something I'm really passionate about, and the atmosphere is not 100% of the time, but I would say 90% of the time it's someone coming in to celebrate. They're excited for something. It's a
Well,
big
yeah,
moment for them.
I wouldn't think people are coming in going like, hey, I'm really fucking depressed. I just need to buy a stupid watch. Yeah, like it literally is one of those jobs where most people come
Yeah,
in. I've said this too as well about like the restaurant industry,
yeah,
particularly fine dining. It's like,
yeah,
for the most part, people are coming to you because they're like celebrating or they're happy. And yeah, there's some
yeah,
grumpy customers, but like most of them are coming to celebrate or to be happy.
yeah. And it's such a privilege to be a part of that moments, or all those moments. It's such a privilege, and it fuels it fuels my studying into watches to help them better, and it fuels telling stories of these beautiful art pieces that was
Yeah.
and all the love and care and tradition and attention that's gone into making this little machines that lasts for decades. It's
Dude, yeah.
a mixture of engineering and art all together. It blows your mind. And if for the watch lovers, well, for anyone that's curious, go into YouTube and you can this is porn for watch people. You can go. There's watchmakers that they just take a Rolex, for example, and just they take out all the pieces. And you can see, for example, with Rolex and Cartier and Audemars Piguet and all the big ones, they put as much care and attention
Yeah.
into the inside, and that looking beautiful, pristine, a
Dude,
work
there's
of
a
art.
reason. There's a reason
And
Rolexes cost what they do. It's not just because
yeah,
like they're trying to scam people and they're fucking retards. Yeah. Like
no,
the reason you buy a Rolex is because the engineering, Swiss engineering, German engineering,
yeah,
like this shit is supposed to last for the rest of your life. That's the
yeah,
point, because they put so much care into the fucking thing. Yeah.
yeah. It should last forever, and even it looks like a work of art, really.
Hmm.
When even down to you need like what's the English word, like a pincher
Magnifying
or something.
glass, pincer,
Yeah, they need,
pincer, tweezers.
yeah, tweezers just to like 1 millimeter. It's so small, man, and it's beautifully arranged. For someone, how many people will see that ever? Perhaps two will ever see that in a Rolex's lifetime.
Yeah.
It's serviced twice, for example. So sometimes if you have a rare watch, for example, I've heard about this one dude. He had a rare Universal Geneve that he inherited from his grandfather, and he took it to the watchmaker because it stopped running. And the watchmaker said, "I'll service it for free," he said, because just the sheer pleasure of seeing the insides. Because Universal Geneva is like, yeah. Okay, I'm going off a watch tangent now.
Everybody listening, find somebody who loves you as much as this guy loves watches. Find somebody who looks at you the way this guy looks at a Rolex, the inside of a Rolex. Yeah. But a big part of the push at the start of the coaching, because you were discussing this and you were going like, look, I have an opportunity to
Yeah,
get mentorship from a guy who does watch sales. And, you know, you'd already known him. I think he coached you in the past, right? He was like a coach
yeah,
of yours in
yeah.
the past. Yeah. And you had this opportunity. And when you came to the group, like you posted in the group one day and then you came to the group coaching call, you were talking about it. Bro, the way you lit up when you started talking about watches, but you still had all this hesitation. You were like, I don't know if he'll take me on. Like, because you basically you reached out to him and said, like, would you take me on as a protege? Would you teach me? Would you give me some opportunities to sell to people? Like, basically, like, please fucking help me. I have
Yeah.
nothing to give you, but please help me. And the way you talked about watches and how excited you were, dude, all of us on the call were just like, bro, I think this is your calling. Like,
Yeah.
what's stopping you from doing this? And you were like, well, like, what could I offer this guy? And we are like, bro, just like fucking do it. Just try, just reach out to him. What a leap of faith that was. And how much courage did that take? Because you were terrified. You were like, why would he coach me? Like, I have nothing to offer him. I'd be a burden.
I was scared shitless. Really, I was scared shitless. And the whole coaching group and your coaching, helped me um, it helped me strengthen the bond with him. And he was already my coach, but I get, he saw me in the period where I crashed and burned, and it was
Yeah.
not his fault at all. And he's seen a lot of people crash and burn, as many people have, and some stay crashed and burned. So I completely understand where he was coming from. Also, I would like to state it for the record that he's a brilliant man, one of the most brilliant men I've ever known. And once I started coaching with you, I think much of the progress I also made is once my emotional issues were cleared aside and I was no longer ripping myself and I find a way to work and with passion, then all his teachings from the past started flowing into me again. And I was able to utilize all of that knowledge again as well. So I'm blessed in all sorts of ways. I I'm at loss for words, really. It will be a pleasure to perhaps we could do a follow-up call in a year or something, and I could
Hell yeah.
flex of for how long
Yeah,
or
this is
where
the
I'm at.
early days, to be clear. Like, you've
Yeah,
only been at
yeah,
this
yeah,
place for a while, but you've already sold some watches, right? Like, you've
yeah,
already
yeah,
made
yeah.
some sales. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
did, I did,
Yeah.
and
I remember that first one. And you came to the
yeah,
group. You're like, holy shit, you guys, I didn't expect that I would do. Oh my God, I sold one. What the fuck? And we're like, yeah, man. Like, of course. You love watches. Like, someone's going to talk to you for 5 minutes, see how passionate and loving you are with the watches. And they'll go, and this happens all the time. They'll go, you know what? I kind of wanted to watch anyway, but like, now I get to, when I buy this watch, have it attached to the memory of this guy that sold it to me and the
yeah.
passion that he had. Like, you're very much bundled up as part of that experience. You're basically giving someone a beautiful, like, amazing experience when they buy that watch. And so anyway, the point is, I said to you, of course you're going to sell a watch, but you were so excited when you sold that first one.
Oh my God, I was floating, and yeah, yeah, but it's sales, so there's a lot of learning to do still, and I'm very much a work in progress, and but I'm enjoying every second of it, really, really I
Yeah.
am. Except sometimes when I put pressure on myself and I
No, okay.
forget. Yeah,
So what's the answer to that? Like, what's a
yeah.
useful tool?
No, then I say, well, I don't have to do any of this.
Yeah, like giving yourself
Uh,
permission to suck, right?
yeah, not even sucking. I go further and I say, I give myself permission to not even do any of this
Bro,
because it's
that's
all voluntary, you know.
well, you're gonna fucking die one day, and maybe none of this matters, and this was all just a fun adventure. So, like
Yeah.
that, I'm not even being flippant when I say that. That's something that I say a lot in the coaching, don't I? I say that a lot in the coaching, where I'm
Yeah.
like, bro, you're gonna die one day. Like
Yeah.
when someone's like really stressed about something, or they're really caught up in something, and they're going like, I have to do a good job of this. I have to do a good job. Like I better not fuck this up. I'm like, bro, you're gonna die one day.
Yeah.
Like you're literally gonna die one day. Have you forgotten that you're gonna die one day? And
Yeah.
at first, when you hear that, you're like, oh, fuck, that's even more stressful. Shit, I'm running out of time. And it's like, no, calm down. At some point, you're going to die, probably earlier than you expect, probably unexpectedly, at least for a lot of us. And then at the end of that, in that moment, is it really going to matter whether you were perfect with this watch sales thing or not? Like, is
Yeah.
that really going to be the thing that fuck it? Like the straw that broke the camel's back. Oh, like that's the thing I'm going to remember when I'm 80 years old. Oh, I've failed to sell one watch, or that girl that I talked to didn't like me, or I had my heart
Yeah.
broken when I was 25 years old. It's like you won't remember that when you're 80. I promise. Like it won't be that big a deal. In other
No.
words, you'll be fine. Everything's okay. You don't have to be perfect.
Yeah. Yeah. This is all an experience, or
Yeah.
just bombard yourself with the mysteries of life. And I think you're going to die one day is like a great opening to that. Like sometimes if you just look at your hand and you start thinking about there's like billions and trillions of tiny creatures working together to create a somewhat coherent whole that's now sitting and talking to you,
Yeah.
and it will all decay one day, and
Yeah.
God knows what will happen then, you know. And you can you can just blast yourself with mysteries until you get some perspective on this whole thing, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Marcus Aurelius was probably my biggest influence, but Thomas Aquinas, Thomas A. Kempis. Who else? Like a few other different people that talk about fear of death. Epictetus. There's a whole bunch of people. David Hawkins, Byron Katie. They all say
Yeah.
get your fear of death out of the way. Like in other words, embrace the fact that you're going to die. I think even Jordan Peterson talks about that a little bit. But embrace the fact that you're going to die, make some peace with that, and then you don't put so much pressure, or it helps take a little bit of that pressure off to always be perfect and always do a perfect job. And you,
Yeah.
I remember, were putting a lot of pressure on yourself with your boss, where you were like,
Yeah.
I better do, like, this is at the start, where you were like, I better do a good job. I have to make a watch sale. I better not let him down. And then sort of the doubts and the insecurities start creeping in. Why the fuck is he spending all this time working with me for free? Like, as in, I haven't given him anything yet. I haven't sold any watches or made him any money. Like, I'm literally just a burden right now. Why the fuck is he doing this? I better not let him
Yeah.
down. And you started getting really stressed, and you were like, what
Yeah.
could I possibly have to offer him? And I was like, hold up, pause, stop. I'll tell you right now the two things that this guy wants from you. Like you're having those doubts of like, why the fuck is he giving me his time for free? And lots of you listening might have a similar situation. Maybe you have some mentor or something or maybe you're in a relationship and you're starting to feel like maybe you have the thoughts of like, why the fuck is this person with me? They're too good for me, or they're offering too much to me, or I can't offer anything to them. What I said to you was your boss in this case wants two things from you. One is he wants you to make progress. Otherwise, why the fuck would he be mentoring you? Two, he wants a little
Yeah.
bit of gratitude. Like he just wants you to say, thank you for teaching me. And here's something that I've progressed in. And so I gave you very actionable steps with that. I said, every day, what if at the end of the day you went up to him and you said, okay, boss, here's like, you didn't call him boss, but like, okay, coach, here's one or two things that I've learned. Like, here's what I learned today. Tell me if these are correct. Like, tell me if I'm getting it. And then also, thank you for mentoring me. So, here's what I learned.
Yeah.
Here's my gratitude. And how much of a change did that make? I guess in yourself more than anything, but how much of a change did that make with him as well?
Yeah. Massive. Massive. Um, I would say we went from being a little bit distant,
Like the two of you
hesitant
were
to,
distant with each other, kind of thing.
yeah, and a bit hesitant with each other, and we just grew closer and closer, and that's happening now even. So
That's amazing.
yeah, it's really amazing. It's
It makes me so happy, dude. I said this to you a million times in the coaching. I try and say this to people, but I definitely said it to you a lot, bro. Like, you don't know how much you've inspired me since you came to the coaching program. Like, all the amazing things you've done, the times you ran towards fear. I said this to you before in this podcast here today, but the way you've embraced your relationship with your son and helped lift him up and all of that has just been so fucking inspiring, man. And maybe it doesn't come across to other people because you're just some guy and I'm just Andy. Like, they don't know you and they didn't work with you obviously for the last 12 weeks, but you were fucking scared with a lot of this
oh
stuff.
yeah, oh yeah,
Like, really fucking terrified. You were even
yeah,
really terrified for the things that seem now in hindsight like not that scary, but you were
yeah,
terrified to like stop beating yourself up as much. You were
yeah,
terrified to like try the baby steps thing. You were terrified to do the bare minimum thing at the start. The first time you tried it, it's like, what the fuck? I can't do this. This isn't good enough. What if this doesn't work? Terrified to reach out to your boss. You were terrified to sit down with your son and do the accountability shit. Like, all of this was fucking scary stuff, man. And like, you really have
all
fucking
sorts.
inspired me.
Well, thank you, and likewise for Andre. I mean,
I
likewise.
feel like we're a pretty good. I say this with a lot of people, but I say this all the time, man. It's like if someone looks at what I've done or they look at what you've done and they're like, wow, this guy like did a lot. It's like, yeah, like understand that Andreas and myself were absolutely terrified, full of doubts, full of insecurities, didn't really know what the fuck either of us were doing. Like, I've never known. I did a
Yeah,
podcast maybe 3 months ago and it was called I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I'm just winging it. I'm just
yeah,
constantly like winging it and figuring it out as I go along. Like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. How am I supposed to know what to do? No one gave me an instruction manual to life or happiness or peace or love or money
no,
or women or any of that. Like,
no,
I didn't get the instruction book. No one has that. People
yeah,
will claim they do, and they call that, the Bible, the Quran, all of that. But even that, you read that and you're just almost
yeah,
more confused than you were to start with. And so there isn't really a
yeah,
big instruction manual. We're kind of figuring it out
no,
as we go along. And so please, please,
yeah,
please, if you're someone that is full of doubt or insecurity, or you're not confident, or you're not disciplined, or you think you're going to do a bad job, just give it a go. Whatever your goals are, if it's going and building an amazing dating life, finding a partner, starting a family, building a stronger relationship with a family you already have, making some money,
yeah,
friends, you want to get out of depression, whatever it is, please don't think that you have to be good. Please don't think that you have to be skilled. Don't think you have to be knowledgeable. Don't think you have to be confident. Literally, the only secret, it's not even a secret, the only steps to success are this: give yourself permission to suck, because you probably are going to suck at the start. It's okay if you suck. Do a tiny little bit every day, like baby steps, and then just do it for a long time. Like, don't quit. That's it. Just keep showing
yeah,
up. That's it. It's not any more complicated with that, with any goal, by the way. It's really not more complicated than that. And nowhere in there did I say, be confident, be attractive, be tall, be cool, be fucking
no,
mentally stable. None of that shit
yeah,
matters. Do a
yeah,
tiny little bit
yeah,
every day. Focus on progress, not perfection.
yeah, yeah, and that's something that helped me a lot. A, your teachings, and B, I work with some absolute killers. I work with people that are so much better than me that it's humbling beyond belief to see them in action. Um, and it's also been really, that's one of my epiphanies that I had in coaching, man, that I told you all about in the group. Man, they're human.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you see them, you see them when you work with someone, you see them on their worst day, you see them on their best day, you see them every, and I thought, man, if they're human and I'm human too, maybe I could be like a killer like them, you know? Maybe it's, uh, yeah. So,
Yeah,
and
you don't need to be
you,
perfect.
Andy, as like the way you, let's say, market yourself or the message in your videos. I didn't have discipline. I don't know what I'm doing. I've never known what I'm doing. I don't know now, and I've never known. And your honesty, that's inspiring, man. That's so inspiring, and that's what led me to pick you as a coach, because I thought, man, this dude is telling me about all sorts of problems, and I have the same problems, and maybe he figured something out, you know. But
Yeah,
if you stood
if
there,
I'm
I'm Andy, I fucking kick ass every day, then I would think like, man, I'm not kicking ass every day.
yeah, it's fun. It's funny because every now and then you might get like a negative comment or someone that's new to the channel, and I'll do a video, and the comment will say like, "Why are you bragging about this?" And it's like, I'm the last person on the planet that would ever brag. Like that's just not the message here. If anything, it's the exact opposite. It's, hey, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. Hey, I'm insecure sometimes. Hey, I haven't always known what I'm doing, but I stumbled and fell and picked myself back up and eventually made it. I've talked about this a million times. I was fucking depressed and suicidal when I was a teenager until I was about 19. A couple of years
yeah,
later, 1 year later, I went to fucking prison for 6 months. From that point, I then picked myself up and did everything I've done after that. That's not exactly the shining beacon of like, oh, this guy has his shit together, is it? But if that guy can like go through and then 2 fucking unhappy relationships, and then at 28, I'm like, holy shit, like I've just been in an abusive relationship for the last 4 years. I don't know how women work. I don't even know if women are allowed to be nice to you or if I deserve to get yelled at and hit and be all of
yeah,
that. I have 0 friends at that point. Like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. If I can go from that point to where I am now, and so many coaching clients have gone through that sort of journey as well. Like mine is
yeah,
not even the most exciting, most like holy crap story of all the people I've ever worked with. There are some people that I look at and I'm like, Jesus, I had an easy life compared to this. Wow, this is inspiring. If we can do it and we don't know what the fuck we're doing, then
yeah.
anyone can. Like that's the
Oh yeah,
motto of the fucking kill your and loser community is like, if I can do it, or if we can do it, you sure as hell can too. So don't let anyone,
yeah,
if there's anyone out there feeling alone or feeling like you're not good enough or feeling like you don't have what it takes to succeed, are you breathing? Yes or no? If the answer is yes, congratulations, you have what it takes to succeed. It's
yeah,
literally just, are you fucking breathing? And do you have the intention to improve? So I guess you could say it's willingness or intention. Like I am willing to improve and I'm fucking breathing. That's it. That's
yeah,
it.
yeah.
What's next for you, big boy? What are the next goals that you're working on? What's up in the next 6 months or a year?
Well, um, want to let's see where I'm at now. So, do you
I want my
operate
son to be a millionaire.
yeah, by the
Age
time is
14. Come
yeah.
on. Otherwise, he's a failure.
Come
Otherwise,
on,
he's
yeah.
failed at life. No. No.
No, we'll pick the accountability calls back up with him. That's the first thing. And secondly, I've communicated to the team that I'm working with that, because I just realized this, because been working really hard with watches, and like days off are that's so OP. Days off are so OP. So what I've been doing now is just now is I'm going to take 2 days off in the weekend, and I'll probably do that every weekend, and that will
Hell
just
yes.
supercharge me. That will just supercharge me. I'm excited about taking days off, because I know
Dude.
once I come back, it will be like a bat out of hell, as Meatloaf says. So
Dude, I know you can't see it. That's just my calendar. But literally yesterday, I had a big, long conversation with Imogen. and I made the very conscious choice to start having 2 days off a week. And we had a big, long conversation about that. And I was like,
Yeah.
it's been 4 or 5 years of me working every day except one. And even on that day off, I still kind of like talk about business and work on coaching and all of that. And I was like, what if I like genuinely commit myself to having 2 days off a week? So that is like OP. OP, anyone who doesn't know
Yeah.
what that means overpowered. Probably should have said that earlier.
Yeah.
You've said OP like 100 times. OP just means overpowered, or you could say underrated,
Overpowered.
or very effective.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, man, I love it. Are you glad you signed up for coaching?
It's the best choice I ever made.
Second best
That's
choice. First best choice was to have your son.
yeah. That was
Could you imagine if you were like, nah, this was like a better decision than my son?
no.
Said like no fatherhood.
Uh,
Yeah.
uh, I told him this as well. That came as a surprise.
The universe's
So
little miracle.
yeah.
I mean, it's not that surprising. If you don't wear contraception and you bang a woman, it's not that surprising.
No, it shouldn't have been. But it came as a surprise, and it was the best surprise ever. That's the best surprise ever. The best, one of the best. If it's not the best, it's one of the best choices I ever made is to sign up with this coaching. Would just again to anyone seeing this, don't hesitate. Don't hesitate. Andy will help you, and he's got a bunch of killers to help him too. So you'll get all sorts of help. It's amazing.
Hell yeah, man. I appreciate you coming on. I'm so unbelievably grateful, not just for you being here, but like I said, I'll say it for the third time. The way that you treat your son and the way that you're building that and the courage that you've shown to step into the watch thing and do the sales job that you've always sort of dreamed of. You've really inspired me a lot. You've left a very big mark or a very big impact on my life, and I'm really grateful and glad that I get to know you.
Thank you, Andy, and I'll hope to stay in touch. And I think I'm going back at some point, even though you really you really did what you set out to do. That's create something that will make yourself superfluous. What's that? Unnecessary. So you can stand in your own 2 feet, and that's really true. That's really true. Uh, even though that's the case, you're so good at what you do. Really, you're so good at it. So I imagine myself coming back for some one-on-one action. That sounded strange.
Hell yeah, brother. I appreciate you, man. Anyone
Yeah,
else
I
who's
appreciate
listening,
you
if you'd
too.
like coaching, anyone else listening, if you'd like coaching, links are down below. But thank you, my man. I appreciate you.
Thank you, Andy. You're the best.